Get to drink your tea.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? This is H&D Abroad. I'm Herman.
And I'm Dee. It is a beautiful early morning. We're going to be doing a few early mornings because we're going to be talking about a place in the world that is very special to my heart. Um, uh, and that is East and Southeast Asia. So we are so glad that you are joining. We are glad that you are considering a move abroad because we are getting ready. We are getting ready. We hope to be able to be making an announcement as we get ready to celebrate the new year. So we're trying to finalize all of those details so that we can make an announcement. But I would be remiss if I did not make sure we fully introduced who we are and what we do.
All right. So we are H&D Abroad. I'm Herman. It's the beautiful D. We come here every Saturday, usually at 1 p.m. Central, but because we have special guests today, we're here a little early. Our whole purpose is to have a conversation about how to improve the lives of individuals, of couples, of people of color, and of everybody.
Yeah.
We really want to help the world grow in a special way. We came because we began this journey learning about how the process of moving abroad. We wanted to share what that meant for us and how it's affecting us. And in the process, build community and learn from you as we make our decisions. We have not decided where we're going. We are narrowing it down any day now.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're considering ourselves mid-career professionals. We have adult children and are literally documenting the things that we're doing in preparation for leaving. We're learning from other people who are also in the process or who have moved abroad. We are highlighting our experience as um, African Americans moving from the United States to other countries, and all of the twists and turns that entail. So, if you are interested in that, what should they do, sir?
First of all, you should stop right now and hit like on this video. Don't wait till later. Don't decide whether or not the guests were okay. You liked it because you came.
That's right.
Whether you're here live with us today or you're watching in a replay, hit like. Then subscribe to our channel. We need people to share with. We need people to grow with. And by hitting the notification bell, you come here every time we're here so that we can have a conversation together. This is a conversation. You hear me say that every week. This is a conversation. This is not us talking and you listening. So when you come in and you're in the chat today, make sure you shout yourselves out.
Where you're from.
Where you're from, what your plans are, because this is a conversation. I'll take the minute now, since I said that, to say hi to Nikki and David. Good to see our friends there. I know there's some other people out there and you're hiding. Go on and talk to us in the conversation. We all grown here.
Absolutely. So you all know I have already shared that Southeast Asia was on my radar, specifically Thailand for many years. We were supposed to do our 20th wedding anniversary in Thailand, and the pandemonium happened. So I have not fallen out of love, but I am coming closer to understanding, making contact with people who live in that part of the world, who have made the move, who've made the decision, and how they're doing it. Because pictures don't help me. Seeing your beautiful Instagram posts are super nice, and I appreciate that, but we're about the how and we're about the why. And so I'm in those groups because y'all know we center a community, because folk are willing to share. They are sharing in very open, honest places. And that's how we found our guest today. Because as soon as she posted we are moving to Japan. I was like, hey, girl. How you do that, and can we interview you? And she said, we are in the process. And so they are semi-settled. And I want not only for her to share for them to share what their background is, but that this is doable on a teacher's budget.
Mm.
And so let's get in.
So say,
oh yes, Miss Mocha Mama, good morning.
all right. So we're welcoming in our guests. Hold on, I'm gonna unmute them and then add them.
Yes.
We're welcoming in Misha and David. How y'all doing?
Hello. We're doing well. Yeah, we're doing.
Thank you.
Don't let the smiles fool y'all. Sacrifices are being made right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell the good people what time of day it is where you are.
It's 11:07 p.m.
All right.
It's getting late.
It's 9 in the morning where we are, so you can understand.
And it's the next day.
Yeah.
It's not the next day yet, but it's going to be the next day soon. So it's Saturday night right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you all can understand why we're doing this early, because we would hate to have them to have done this at 4 o'clock in the morning. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So start off with just giving us a little brief introduction of yourselves, and then we'll kind of jump into the conversation.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll go first. My name is David, and I am married to this beautiful young woman here.
Thank you.
I am in Japan with my family, and it has always been a dream of mine ever since I was, 13, 14, I believe, 13. Yeah. So I was in middle school, and I really became interested in anime as a child, and I've watched so many different types of anime and so many different genres of anime, and I've gotten into manga and a few different anime subjects, and it's part of my identity now. It's part of the person that I am, and I love it as a hobby, and as something that has pushed me forward really throughout my whole life, being able to hear the stories from, different artists and that kind of deal, learning also kind of different aspects of anime and that kind of deal has kind of helped me through a lot, especially as a child, emotionally, I would say as well. But I'm 29 years old. I come from I guess you can say little town. It's still a city, it's Memphis, Tennessee is where I'm from.
Hey.
It's a city, it's in the South, but I feel like it's, it's small compared to, like a big city, like, Miami or, New York or, that kind of deal. So, it's
But Memphis has
great.
got its own character, though.
Yes. Memphis has its own character, most definitely, especially being in the South.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, and I'm glad for it. Actually, I'm glad to have that character and that sense of background, because it's also made me stronger as a person.
Okay.
But I have been enjoying my 1 month that I've been here in Japan so far. And I guess I'll let Misha take it away and introduce herself before I get too, deep into it, because I'll talk all day, and I don't want to, overstep who I feel like is really the star, in this show, I'm just gonna be honest. She has helped me accomplish one of my lifelong dreams. So, I want to go ahead and, let her introduce herself.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Misha. I'm 26. What do I like? You know, something I'm really interested in lately is mind, body, mental self-improvement. Like reconnecting to the body and just really overhauling the way that I see the world. And that's one of my biggest interests lately. So if you don't want to know anything about me, it's that. We are currently living in Japan. I've been here for 2 months. I've been here since it's almost 3 months. Oh my God.
Yeah, since
I've been here since August. Time is slipping away from me, guys. We are the parents of a lovely daughter. Her name is Winona. She's 2. She'll be 3 in January.
Yes.
We're both from Memphis, Tennessee, and we actually both have the same alma mater. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We both graduated from the same college,
Yeah,
but not
yeah.
around the same time at all. He
No.
left way before I did.
Yeah. Funny thing is, we met through a high school friend of mine before. I think she was graduating high school.
Oh, you guys may know him, Justin Pearson,
Justin
the
Pearson.
Tennessee state representative.
Yeah.
Justin Pearson.
Wow.
They graduated high school together.
Yeah, he went to the same. We went to the same high school. We went to we both were in debate club together, and I did JV or junior varsity, and then I ended up in the 11th grade is when I went to Mitchell High, and in the 12th grade is when I moved to varsity, and I was able to be on the team with Justin. And that's a whole nother like life-changing ordeal. Like that right there definitely was a foundation for the man that I am today, you know. But was there anything else that you wanted to continue with on your introduction? No.
No, I have to be asked questions. That's just like
I was going to ask Misha if she could do a brief introduction in Japanese because she has that skill, y'all.
Yes, I do speak Japanese. So,
yes, she does.
Carmesha Sanford と申します。Misha と呼んでください。26歳です。私と旦那さんは、how do I say? I usually don't introduce him too, so I just keep it to myself. So, お母さんです。娘は2歳です。1月は3歳です。今は日本に住んでいる、楠町大分県です。よろしくお願いします。
よろしく。
Nice. Very nice.
Japanese is fun. If you want to learn, you should definitely learn.
It's definitely interesting.
So I want to throw in our youngest son is
same path, David. Same path.
He is anime, you know.
Yes.
And I think to some degree all 3 of our children are, but our youngest is really he took some Japanese.
His last year in high school.
Yeah, the last year he attended high school. It is a part of his identity. As you see, he's a gamer, you know, the whole bit. He's
me too.
And he's created that word for himself. And I may have him connect with you at some time in the future for a conversation, because that may be something that he can vibe with. He's almost 19. He's at that place where he's making some life decisions. He's, you know, second year of attending college classes. So he's making some decisions. So we may double around to that. I wanted to say that before I forgot.
Also to add,
that's fine with me.
If he wants, like, we'll get into like the program that I'm on, but the biggest thing that they look for is a strong interest in Japan. And the only real requirement is just to have a bachelor's degree. And he could spend 3 to 5 years in Japan getting paid what I think is a pretty great salary and really live and enjoy and partake in the culture.
That's a good segue.
A path. Most of us, you know, if you know, it's kind of like, I'd like to move to X country. And most of the time we're saying you do not want to look for work in the country that you're going to, because those local jobs are usually, from a visa perspective, held for local people. I mean, they don't want foreigners coming in and taking all of the jobs. So, but the teaching assistant, teacher exchange programs are a real path,
Yes.
regardless of your academic training. So
Mhm.
I have a graduate degree in education. I did, it was not a path to teach school per se, but I had the fundamentals of curriculum development and assessment,
Yeah.
and have
Oh,
taught
yeah.
at the university level. But they're not usually asking for that. They're just, have
Right.
you completed a bachelor's degree? It
Right.
could
Exactly.
be in,
Anything.
in plumbing. I mean,
Yeah.
this is where underwater basket weaving is okay. That it is a completely transferable, you can transfer that level, that academic level, into how you move abroad, because it's a salary. It's, it gives you access in a way that, it's a plain path to a visa. Sometimes the programs really soften what you have to do to be able to get it. And so this is, I think, in the write-up that I did, this is the second conversation that we've had around these teaching programs. And Herman and I have taught English online. I looked at the JET program and I was just like, I don't know. What made you say, okay, yes, I majored in Japanese. Yes, the JET program is right for me as a person, but also me as a wife and a mom.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the program, and then why you chose to do that.
So the JET program is for anyone that holds a bachelor's degree, and there is no age limit. So you can be anywhere from whatever age you graduate college to. There was actually a guy who was 70 years old who came with us, like on my trip on this JET year. It's a program where you will be an assistant language teacher teaching in elementary, middle, high school. You can also teach special ed, or even what do they call those? Vocational schools, where people learn like mechanics, stuff like that. So you can pretty much work in anything that's under university level. They'll have you there with another Japanese teacher of English, and you'll be assisting them in the English classes. And something that we love to say in the JET program is that every situation is different, because it depends on who's your contracting organization. So for me, I'm contracted by a municipal government. So it's going to look very different for me than a girl who's also in the same town as me, but she's contracted by the prefecture. So our contracts look different. The amount of days we get off a year looks different, but our compensation is the same. That's the coolest thing about it. Your compensation is going to be the same, and it goes up every year that you're in the JET program, and you maxed out at 5 years. But here's something, it's a little trick for those who want to stay longer on the program. It's risky, but technically you can do 9 years. If you leave on the 4th year and reapply, then you get another 5 years. So there's technically a loophole, but that's only if you get chosen again, which the chances are pretty high that if you've already spent time on the program, that someone wants you to come back. You'll probably be somewhere different, but that's neither here nor there. So most of the placements for the JET program are going to be rural placements, because that's where they need English teachers the most. Rural towns are severely depopulated. Like even here in my town, like there are like over 5 schools that are just closed. I teach at one school where there's literally this huge school. There's one kid in the whole school. The whole school is just one child. So I drive up 30 minutes in the mountain to teach this one kid English. So schools are becoming depopulated. Everyone knows. Well, if you don't know, Japan is suffering from a huge depopulation crisis. People are just not having children. But there are huge benefits if you do have children.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later. So that's the JET program. The compensation for the first year is 3.2 million yen. So every month I get about 280 yen before taxes. So I pay taxes. I pay what we would coin in the US is like Social Security for like the older people, and I pay insurance. And then there's a separate municipal tax that doesn't get taken out, so I have to put money aside to pay that. Not this year, but it'll be the year after next when I have to start paying it. So that is the J program in a nutshell. So on my page,
is it full time? Let's see. So in comparison, I think another part is is it 40 hours a week? Is it 20 hours a week? What is your time commitment?
I think technically it's, I want to say 32.
Okay.
I want to say it's 32 hours. I work from 8:30 to 4:15, and then I have a lunch break. So I don't know how many hours it is, but I think it's like 32. It's definitely not 40 hours because they even let us know that you don't work as nearly as long as the actual teachers at school. They stay there till like 5:30 every day. Sometimes they stay even longer than that. The work culture here is actually wild.
It's hard. They go hard in Japan. You hear me? Our students.
I was telling my JT that I was gonna possibly take off for my husband's birthday. He was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, like we might want to do something during the daytime." He was like, "That is such a culture," because he speaks English. So he said, he was like, "This is culture shock for me." He was like, "We don't usually like take off work for anything really." I was like, "I can tell."
What's the JTE?
Umeki.
Oh, okay.
So JT is a Japanese teacher of English. So that's the person that you are in the classroom with. So when you're a JET, you're not going to be in the classroom by yourself. You are an assistant language teacher helping someone else teach. That's like what it's about.
Yeah.
So yes, the work culture here it's been culture shocking for me, and I don't even participate in it really.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, is it okay if I kind of interject a little bit?
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of background in education. That's what my bachelor's degree is in. So is it education? There's human development and learning, bachelor's of science. Mm-hmm. And so I did not get the licensure, but I do have a year of experience teaching kindergarten during my residency, and kind of like building lesson plans and sticking to the standards and having the curriculum and interacting with children and all that kind of stuff. I have experience with that, looking and doing observations, and I had to do the project for licensure, but there were some complications, I'll say, that I don't want to really get too much into, but there were some complications, and I ended up not finishing the licensure program, but I still got the degree. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like, from a educator standpoint, realizing that, she and other JETs who are assistant teachers don't have to have that main role as the teacher in the classroom. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's less stressful as a teacher, not having to take care of all of the main things that you have to do, like, grading papers and, discipline, or having discipline in the classroom, mm-hmm. and correcting behaviors and all that kind of stuff, and keeping the students on task and stuff. Like, she doesn't have to specifically do that. That's up to the teacher in the classroom. She's, again, is an assistant teacher. Mm-hmm. So, I feel like that's a unique standpoint when you think about teaching abroad, mm-hmm. and teaching in Japan. Mm-hmm. It's you're not going to be holistically responsible for the students. Mm-hmm. You're just here to teach English. Mm-hmm. You're not here to teach the students everything else. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's I want to be very specific on that. I just wanted to say that that's a unique, I feel like, position, mm-hmm. Being and having the experience of a teacher in the States, in the United States. So
so my department, like I said, I graduated, my graduate degree is in education, and the research support that I gave was to the department that does monitor teachers going through. And I
Okay.
feel like the path that you all are taking, I mean, that the JET program offers, will allow teachers to have the joy of teaching
Mm.
without
Yeah.
a lot of the things that after, if teachers make it to 5 years, the
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that we talk about are, I went to school to teach.
Yeah.
And I'm spending more time with paperwork and
Yeah.
bureaucracy
Exactly.
Yeah.
and the JET program and other teaching, teacher exchange programs allow you to focus on the joy of teaching, the creativity you can bring to the classroom,
Yes.
Exactly.
just kind of focusing on the learner,
Hmm.
getting them excited about learning. It's how you can
Yeah.
tap into that. And you're not, like you said, you're not going to lose financially. You're definitely not
Yeah.
going to lose with your preparation in the field. You're not going to,
Yep.
you're going to gain so much
Yes.
because now you can tap into culture. I've done this at an international level.
Mhm.
Y'all, I'm going to put on my academia hat and say, if your young person, and because we have a lot of people that are our age with young adults, if they're kind of trying to still figure out what do I want to do, this is a great way to test it
Exactly.
out. And there are programs all over the world that are doing
Yeah.
this. So you can
Yeah.
literally bop through your whole 20s
Yes.
without having to, other than proving that I'm a responsible adult,
Exactly.
that I
Exactly.
can uphold
Yes.
my responsibility of being where I'm supposed to be, doing what
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
supposed to do. That's the
Exactly.
only commitment you have to have. You can
Yeah.
Yes.
this is how you can figure life out.
Yes.
So I got a
That's why
couple.
most of us are on JET program. It's a time where, like you said, you can still develop professional skills, but you can also just get a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part.
I got a couple of quick rapid fire questions before we answer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, let's answer this one first. Servant teacher Nikki asked, "Did your benefits package include flights back to the U.S.?"
Yes. So, but just for me, so in the JET program, when it comes to, so they sponsor visas for all of us. So I have a work visa, and then David and our daughter have dependent visas. So as long as I'm here, they can be here. If David wants to work, we just have to go to the prefectural immigration office, and they put an amendment on his visa, and then he can work up to 25 hours. So just part time because it's a dependent visa. So I flew here. They bought my plane ticket here, and whenever I want to go back, I can go back anywhere in the U.S. and pay for the ticket back. But for my daughter and my husband, I have to get flights for them separately. So they're only going to sponsor you, the person that they're contracting to work, for flights back and forth in and out of the country.
So that partially answered some of the questions I was asked. Listening, David, I noticed. So you're not doing the JET program.
No, I am not doing the JET program.
Are you? Is that something that you're considering doing?
So Misha did talk to me and let me know that it's a possibility that I can apply for the JET program while I'm here, and it's a lot easier to do that because I'm physically here in the country. And so that was one of the avenues that I was thinking. But really, at this moment, I don't have the background in Japanese acquisition that Misha has.
Which I want to point out, you don't actually need.
Yes.
If everyone is afraid, you don't actually have to know. Knowing Japanese is not a requirement at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the person that you're going to be working with knows English.
Yeah. 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 Especially at the like the high school and the middle school level, like they're supposed to know English like through and through. And then like the elementary school is a little less, but they still do know English and they can communicate back and forth with you. But back to the topic of I guess what are my plans? Specifically, I want to study Japanese more before I actually get into getting a job or shigoto, as they would say here. I need to study more Japanese, and I feel like getting that, just being able to hear the words and being immersed in the culture and the language and learning the do's and the don'ts and being here is tremendous in acquiring the language, and so that's the first thing that I want to start tackling is just trying to understand what's being said. And I talked earlier about liking anime, and anime has become my identity. And so I'm in a unique position where my best friend in college was or he is still a Japanese guy. His name is Atsuhito Saito, and we met. And then after we met, years later, Misha and I decided to get together, and they started to speak to each other in Japanese, which was kind of like a full circle thing, And so I've been listening to Japanese for so many years that I can understand when someone is speaking to me, but as far as responding back and speaking back, it's kind of like how you would hear like broken English. It's broken Japanese. So I'm still learning and learning the phrases that I want to say, and how to respond and that kind of deal. But as far as understanding what somebody is saying to me, it's almost as if the words, they come out and they say Japanese words, but I'm registering them in my head in English, and I'm understanding what they're saying, And so I feel like that's another unique position that I'm in, that, I've heard anime for so long. I've heard Japanese people speaking for so long, to the point to where it's becoming natural to hear, especially some of the words that are like normal in society, like, ononoko, like, which is girl, and, danna-sama, which is, like husband, and oksan, which is, wife, some of the things that are, normally and typically said, cultural wise, like I'm hearing all of those things again. And it's just, it's surreal to me to be like, okay, well, now I understand what you're saying, but, give me a second to respond back,
My son gets mad at me when I watch anime in English. And it's like,
tell me you are not doing that.
listen,
please tell me this was a joke.
So
no, because I think, listen, and a lot of times when I'm watching it, unless it's specifically like there's no dub for it,
okay,
trying to watch and read at the same time is distracting to me sometimes. So I'm wanting to hear the dialogue and watch what's going on, because I'll just be watching the subtitles and I'm not trying to keep up with the dialogue. Yeah. So forgive me. That's my old thing.
I'm so elitist when it comes to dub versus sub.
It does take practice. It's just like with anything. If you just continuously do it over and over again, eventually you'll hear the words, or you'll hear the Japanese words. And yes, I'm still reading subtitles, but I'll still look back and forth. I'm just used to it now, looking back and forth.
I'm not trying to. I'm sorry, it's not happening. I'm just trying to enjoy. I'm trying to enjoy the storyline. For me, I take it as he gets bent out of shape. And I was like, you'll be all right.
Oh yeah. The amount of watching our son does, it helped him to transition some of that cognitive part of language learning. And so, I think if you're not doing it a lot, then you kind of get dependent on the subtitles. But and so language learning is some of what we talk about. So I think for me, some of the language learning, as we look at countries that we might land, either land initially or go to, is all about, I want to feel confident in the space, like moving in the space. Like I can do the basic things. Some of it is, I don't want to embarrass myself. I mean, just to be straight up honest, I don't want to get out there think I'm
I understand.
asking for, do you have change for 5 and saying something totally
Yeah.
okay. And then some of it as a Black woman is about safety. So
Yes.
the way I communicate and my understanding of what is being communicated to me, if I'm in a situation where I need help, I at least want to have basic skills to be
Yes.
able to move about in a safe
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you guys, you get Misha, you get it, you apply, you get accepted. Hooray!
Right.
How's your family? How was your family embracing? Okay, so we said yes to you and this Japanese here in the States. David's family, okay, your girl is into Japanese, y'all are into anime in the States. Like, how did you transition your folk from we're doing this over here to we are actually going somewhere else?
How did you convince them you're taking their 2-year-old grandbaby out of the country?
And that too.
I'm gonna tell you why I feel like it was a lot easier for us than it might be for other people. Because I've been studying Japanese in college for the last couple of years. And I went to college specifically to do the J program. But I knew I needed a bachelor's degree. I was like, well, if I'm going to do it in anything, I'm going to do it in Japanese. There was literally no other motivation behind it, but nothing else but the chance to live abroad, get reprieve, relax, go somewhere else. Like, for me, and for what I feel like it is for a lot of people, especially people who like me, I want to get out of toxic environments.
Exactly.
And that was a huge motivator for me. And this is something that I have talked about for years and years and years. And so when I applied to the program, when I got accepted to the program, most people were like, I definitely knew that you were going to do that because you've never stopped talking about it for like the last 4 years.
Same for my family as well. They, as a child, they knew that I was interested in Asian culture, and they knew that, I was interested in being different than other children that were in my neighborhood and that kind of deal. And so, this is for them, they already knew that it was my dream. And, I feel like we also are, Misha and I, also people that are so true to ourselves to, if we're going to do something, we're going to go for it regardless of what, someone is saying to us, because we're the type of people, we have to experience something to really like learn the value and to really learn, what this experience truly is to us, And so they understood that. And, a lot of our family was like, man, we're happy for you. We're happy that you're living the dream that you want, because you've been saying this for so long. You've been saying this for so long. And, it was definitely a happy and joyous time when we let them know, hey, we're moving, we're going abroad, and so, it was great. It was great, and I'm glad that they really pushed us forward rather than tried to hold us back. Because I mean, of course we were going to do it regardless, but
it's nice to be supported.
But it's nice to be supported. Yeah, it's nice to be supported with your family, because that does, especially from a emotional and a mental standpoint, it does matter. So
I'm going to ask, I'm shifting slightly. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I want to ask, along with that part of the conversation, how did you prepare your daughter? Because we usually don't get a chance to talk to people with young children. And so how were you orienting her to, I mean, yes, she probably saw mom and dad watching anime, but it's one thing to see something on the screen. It's another to realize I'm leaving what's most familiar to me and going with mommy and daddy somewhere new.
We just talked about it a lot.
Yeah, we talked to her about it a lot. Like,
pretty much once I found out, pretty much every day, like, you're going to be getting on the plane with daddy. Like, they practice about like airport stuff. So he got like this little cufflet for her, and they just use it to like go to the mailbox, and he
Yeah.
will remind her we're
Yeah.
going to use this in the airport, and
Yeah.
you're going to get on a plane and go far away. So just constantly
You know,
talking about
to
it.
her about it, and having that communication with her, even though she's two, still having that communication and letting her know what's coming up next, and you know, letting her know that, hey, this is what's about to happen, you know, and you know, she's getting excited like we're getting excited, you know, and so you know, she's the type already, you know, with her personality, she wants to go and explore and do new things and different things, and so you know, she's definitely a go out into the world and explore type person already.
and I believe, and when I was watching you all's story as it was unfolding, you know, I personally believe that it's a natural thing for the belief that when you make these transitions, kids with mothers are safer. And I think that kids, when they make that transition with their fathers, especially girls, actually make that transition a little better, because daddy is leading, daddy is doing, and that may be biased. I may be biased, but I believe that, especially with daughters, especially firstborn daughters, whatever daddy's doing, and we're doing that, and it doesn't matter how off the wall it is and strange it is, that's what we're doing.
I'm sorry, continue.
Go ahead.
I will say this, being a educator and being a male, and also being a Black male, I've learned that it's easier, and it's almost, I guess you can kind of say, natural in a way for the students, especially if they're kids and children, to listen and to follow directives from me as a teacher. And the reason I say that is because being in the classroom, even, you know, in the classroom of a veteran teacher, which I think she had been my teacher who I was under during residency. She had been a teacher, I believe, for 10, 15 years. And so, you know, she would tell me, hey, you know, of course, you know, I'm still learning at that point. And she would tell me, hey, you know, you have to, you know, they listen to you when you put a little extra bass in your voice, and when you be very direct, and you know, they listen to you more than they listen to me, because, you know, and I don't want to say, I don't want to be what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say, oh, just because of a man, that's why they're listening to me. But it almost seems as though it's like a natural occurrence for when a man speaks, and he speaks very, very direct, and, you know, and you know, puts a nice bass and tone in his voice. It's like they're up, they're ready, they're doing exactly what you told them to do. And, you know, that was another thing that, you know, they were, a lot of teachers, especially, you know, especially since teaching is a majority of women are teachers, you know, in the United States, I feel like. And so a lot of them were like, man, we need more men to, you know, be in the classroom, because, you know, directives are being followed, you know, when you say certain things, you know.
I was going to bring that around to part of the conversation as well. I'm glad you said that, because the question I was going to ask is, women have become the face of education over the last many decades. And do you see, especially with visiting teachers, we'll use that phrase, with visiting foreign teachers, do you still see that as a common? Are there any, what's the prevalence of men in these classrooms, in the JET program or other programs, and Black men in particular?
Oh, wow. So in my orientation, I can tell you that there weren't, like, just from like the people who came with me, there weren't that many Black people in general. In general. And I don't know if that's because of a lack of interest in Asia among us in general, or if it's the differences in, or just the knowledge of the program in general. But I will say that if you're talking about men as a whole, I think there were way more guys on the program than there were girls. Lots of guys.
Wow,
lots of guys. Now, if you talk about like Black men, maybe there was like one or two out of the 200 of us that were there.
Okay.
I think actually there were a lot more than that. They broke us up into 2 groups, but there were probably 1,000 of us there for the whole like 4 days.
Mhm.
And so just in the people that I saw in my like 200, 300 group, maybe like 1 or 2 Black guys. But I don't know where they're from because the JET program isn't just the US.
Mhm.
It's countries all over the world people come from. Like people from New Zealand,
Yeah.
Australia,
UK.
Europe, Spain. Like
Yeah.
they literally pull teachers from everywhere, all over the world. And so that's the really cool thing about the JET program.
They need English speakers from every country. If you know how to speak English, then you can teach it.
But lots of guys.
Yeah.
Lots of guy assistant language teachers. But from like everywhere.
Yeah.
From like everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to respond to Miss Mocha Mama, and I see your questions, and we're going to get them up on the screen. I want to say one of the things that we have found with our son, who's, like we said, who's late teens, is we travel together.
Yep.
And so, especially if you've not been to a place before, there are a lot of, even if you're into a culture, like you're piercing a cultural barrier, like, and that can be difficult. The first time we went to Mexico with our son, he was a little bit cautious. This time around, he was like, I know the place, I know the feel, I've been here before. He became more relaxed. We've considered Asia, well, I am a K-pop fan, y'all. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Don't be afraid now.
And you like what you like.
And when we found out that I was interested in what he was interested in, like he was playing some jazz, and I was like, how do I know that? He was like, it's a theme song to a lot of the things that we watch. And I was just like, I have been resistant to anime, and I was just like, don't suck me into the culture. But when we do things with them, sometimes it just takes that one time, and then they're going to be like kindergarten, bye, mom. But I mean, tapping, helping them to identify that there's something in you that they can relate to, and that you are willing to travel with them. Take them with you. I know servant teacher Nikki and David have they have kids around our kids' ages. And I mean, part of it can be go together. When they see things that they're interested in, when they get connected to the culture there are a variety of ways kids are connecting to each other internationally in a positive, responsible way that can be the motivation. But the biggest thing, okay, so I'm going to put servant teacher Nikki's question up here. And I'm going to say, I see this question as multifaceted. So there's a general gateway. Do you feel safe walking on the street day, night, other? But because we've tutored English, we understand that Japan is a monoculture. And so there is a safety factor of, am I a novelty? Do I feel observed, over observed? Are people wanting to touch my skin, touch my hair? That is also a part of the safety conversation for me as a woman.
And I was going to say to Mocha Mama, is that also may be something that you consider is a young Black man, is despite interest in the world absorbs the Black culture as if it belongs to them. If a party is playing at a white supremacy party, they playing our music. I mean, it's just what it is. It's just they absorb our culture as if it's theirs, but we aren't absorbed into their cultures easily. And sometimes there may be fear of the unknown. My background is behavioral sciences with youth and adolescent development. And fear of the unknown, even in the towns in which they live, the states in which they live. And so you're saying now, I'm taking something that's been a fantasy online and I'm going to go across the world. D is suggesting that some of that may be alleviated by doing it together. I think there's a measure of what's happened to young Black men in this country, as well as my children are not fully immersed in the world, but my children have been. My daughter was calling me the other day because she was worried about what was going on in the Middle East, and I was like, "You were paying attention to that?" You know, I mean, like upset, like tears, upset. So we take for granted that they have fears about what's happening in their world because we're exposed to it consistently. When we were young, we had to sit down and watch the news to figure out what was going on in the world.
Exactly.
It's bleeding into their screens all the time. So then saying, okay, now we're moving somewhere else. As a Black person, do you feel safe in Japan? We got a couple of questions like that. So what is your Black experience? I know you all have only been there a little while.
Yeah.
What are you seeing thus far?
So I was actually a little culture shocked because I thought that I'm pretty sure I do stand out, but I thought that I would get more feedback than I actually got. So like when I live in a very small town, and so I just knew off the bat, like I'm gonna be like a Bengal tiger walking down the street. Like people just cannot go to believe. Like when I say they are not studying me, it's just like they've always known that I've been here. Like I thought I would get way more stares. Like they'll look and then literally like keep on doing what they're doing. Like sometimes it was so refreshing one day when I like waved and like somebody like looked me dead in my face and like didn't wave back. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Just like home.
And you know what? Let me throw something in.
That was comforting. Wow. Yes.
Let me throw something in right there. I watched the young lady, and she decided she's a teacher in Japan or whatever program she was in, and she was saying, "Oh yes, they treat me nice," and she put on a kimono and walked through town. Right. And what I want to ask, and you may not be at a point to know yet, is it polite? You're just a person, or is it you're being ignored? When she was videoing it, I was like, she looks like she's like they're just ignoring her more so because
I was gonna say I think that's so much of it, and that's why I was so shocked. I thought I didn't imagine that I would be ignored, but it was so refreshing to be ignored because the kind of person I am, I didn't want to come and be the star of the town, like this person they've never seen, like they won't leave me alone. Like it's just like I want to feel. I know I'm never gonna feel like I feel at home, but I would just want to feel like another person walking down the street.
Exactly.
You don't have to go out of your way to say hello. Like you don't have to do anything extra. Like I'm just going down here just like you're going down here. I'm grocery shopping like you're grocery shopping. And when I was here by myself, it was a little different. But now that we have our daughter here with us, now it's like all of the attention in the world.
They love. I'll say that. So there's two parts to that. We're the type of people to love our peace and quiet life. Like we don't want the hustle and bustle of the big city and all that kind of stuff. So being in the country suits us very well.
Yes.
And so if we were in Tokyo, it might be a little bit of a difference.
Yes.
But being out in the country, it's as if we're just another family in the town.
Yes.
However, of course you're gonna have some instances where people are gonna be interested. They're gonna they're gonna look at you for a second. And then after that, it's like, okay, mind my own business, they mind their business, I mind my business, But the overall being safe, and like I said, we've only been here for a short period of time. That they call this the honeymoon phase or something for I think about 6 months. And so but just being here in the month that I've been here, being able to walk around at night by myself or even with my family and it's dark outside and knowing that I'm not going to get hit by a stray bullet, or something like that. Just being safe from any type of guns, in general, for me is a strong point. And it gives me a peaceful mind because it's refreshing to just be able to walk around at night and not have to look around your shoulder, not have to, of course I'm paying attention to my surroundings, but I don't have to worry if someone's going to mug me with a gun, at gunpoint or something like that. And so that right there is one point that I wanted to make, is that it's refreshing and it's outstanding, for me at this point. And the second thing is they love children, how cute they are. They love little kids. They love little children. And so when they see us with Winona, we get all the attention. How cute, they're, oh, how cute she is, they're asking how old she is and that kind of deal. And, of course, see, we're in the country, and I feel like that's another difference between the country and the big city. Yes, Japan is dealing with a crisis with their population. And they talk about how people would rather not have children, but the benefits for having children are pretty good. And so here in the country, we have actually been seeing more pregnant women than we thought. Like we've been seeing families of 4, 5, and 6. Like we've been seeing, bigger, families that aren't like the nuclear, that aren't like the 4, people. And so, it was kind of a shock to me, thinking that, oh, well, in the country, maybe they are having, as far as, children, they're having a little bit more than you would in like a big city like Tokyo. Because, if you're single, you got a job in Tokyo, it's, hustle and bustle, you're moving fast, you don't have time for that. But, out in the country, it's more of a quieter life. It's more of it's more chill out here, there's not a lot going on, to really be honest. They do have festivals. As a matter of fact, we just had a festival yesterday, a culture festival. And, you have little things here going on in the town, but it's not a lot of stuff going on. So, it's peaceful, it's peaceful. And so we've been actually seeing, pregnant women, with 3 and 4 kids already following behind them, and they're pregnant, and they're about to have another one, so it's kind of refreshing to see that as well, and realizing that the peaceful life is kind of, I feel like, what's pushing them towards that.
David, as a non-Japanese speaker, when you are alone without Misha, how is that interaction? And I'm asking that specifically because language is a big thing wherever
Yes.
people are. We were just down in Mexico getting our visas renewed. And I mentioned last week on our live that I felt like there were less people willing to speak or available to speak English to me this time than it was a year ago when we were there. And I mean, I don't mind making the effort because I'm coming into their culture and space and I'm trying to learn the language, but my Spanish is, none. And I know you said you hear it, but you don't speak it. So when you're alone and you're walking into a space, how is that interaction? And I mean that in the sense of you can use tolerance or patience or what is that interaction been like with you when you're alone trying to make transactions or get information?
So because of their culture as Japanese people, their first impression is, most definitely, and they try to have this impression all the time of being nice and being, kind to you. And so, the interactions, as a matter of fact, I just had an interaction with a young man, what was his name? Miki, I think, at the festival. Misha and Winona were going, they had to go off and go do something, with them. And I was by myself. And so I was just kind of standing in the festival, by a few of the places where you get food, the stands and stuff like that. Right. And so I had one guy kind of walk up to me. Of course, there's like alcohol and stuff being sold and that kind of deal. So of course, he had a few drinks, but he came up to me, he talked to me, he asked me, how am I doing? He asked me, what's your name? How old are you? And he was very polite about it. And I feel like he was also very because this is Japanese culture, he was very formal about it as well. So he came up, and then once he came up, a few of his other friends came up, and we all just kind of talked, and I let them know, hey, I understand what each and every one of you guys are saying, but I can't really speak back exactly how you would, but I can do certain words, phrases here and there, and they were like, oh, and I was like, yes. And so we just kind of worked through some of the language barriers that we had, because to be honest, English being one of the biggest languages in the world, they know certain phrases and certain words and stuff as well. So it was refreshing to realize that a lot of the people here want to speak English. Like, they want to speak English to you. They want to learn English because it's not only seen as cool or something that's going to increase their education and their standpoint as far as where they are in the world, but it's interest in learning another language. They see it in the culture and the media, especially from the United States and that kind of deal. And so a lot of people here actually want to speak English to me, and that's refreshing. And I tell them, hey, I want to speak Japanese to you. So it's been very refreshing. I've been enjoying it. I will say that, of course, the language barrier, sometimes we're just kind of, talking, and then, I could tell, oh, well, they don't understand, or they could tell, oh, I don't understand. And then we just kind of say it in another way, or do, maybe hand gestures, or, I have on my phone, and a lot of people here have on their phone, Google Translate.
Yeah.
And so they're like, they love Google Translate. Like, they love Google Translate and typing in, kanji or whatever, words they type in, and hearing it said in English. And I'm like, hey, I know the technology too. I'm typing in English, and I'm like, hey, I'm dehydrated from hanging out yesterday. I can't have too many beers today, and that kind of deal. So it's nice. It's nice to be able to have that interaction and know that they're trying to be nice and kind and very formal about it, rather than just coming up and like messing with you, or being a nuisance or abrupt about it. You know what I'm saying? And even if it is kind of abrupt, because anyone just coming up to you and talking can be perceived as being abrupt. They still start off with hey, I'm sorry, I just want to kind of speak to you about some of the things about you, because I've seen you, and you are like cool. Like, they seeing a black person is like super cool to them. They're just like, oh, kakoi, it's like super cool, And so it's again, they'll give you that kind of look, and then if they want to speak to you, they will. But if not, then they just go about their business, And
are you taking lessons?
Right now, I'm not taking lessons. I'm trying to get down packed the phrases and words that I need for my everyday life, like going to the grocery store, going to the laundromat, talking to people in town, like my neighbors. I take a walk with my daughter in the morning, and I talk with a few of my neighbors, and I let them know, hey, I understand, but I can't really speak that well. And they're like, okay. So then they'll say the little English that they know, or they'll say, they'll say it a different way in a word that I've heard before, and I'll understand what they're saying, and then I'll just kind of respond the best way that I can. But right now, I'm trying to get down packed how to respond when going grocery shopping, and some of the things that I need. But eventually, yes, I will be getting into learning the language as a whole. And over the years, having a best friend who's Japanese, and having Misha, go through, the the program at the University of Memphis and getting her degree and that kind of deal, you know, I've been exposed to it more than me initially just watching anime, you know. And so,
Mhm.
you know, you know, just her speaking while we're out to other people is I'm learning, you know, through experience at the moment. And it's definitely not only eye-opening, but it's growing me as a person. And you know, once I get down pack the, you know, responding and being able to say what I want to say, that's when it starts, you know, everything starts opening up. I think my first day here, the president of the
Board of Education
was trying to get me a job because they're like, no man left behind on a job, you know.
Nah.
And yeah. And he's like, he's very old school in that, you know, I hope that you don't feel what's the word? I hope that you don't feel embarrassed that, hey, you know, your wife has a job and you don't, so I want to help you, you know. And you know, I kind of told him, hey, I have this new mentality, you know, I'm not super embarrassed about it, you know, it's not like a big deal to me. I'm really just experiencing life with my wife and my family, and you know, I want to be able to work and gain many different skills in many different professions, you know. And so, you know, not just having just one career for, you know, the rest of my life. And so, you know, I talked to him about it and he's like, okay. So he's like, well, you just have to study Japanese more and then we can get you in somewhere, you know. And so,
Wow.
you know, we had that, you know, connection, and he's like, you're going to be able to make a lot of friends because, you know, he's like, you're cool. Like, you're going to be able to make a lot of Japanese friends. And lo and
Your
behold,
approach.
you know,
Yeah,
lo and behold,
when I taught English online with Koreans and Japanese, they always say, "Have you come? When you come, look me up, because you'll be the man."
exactly.
They,
And
they,
so
they,
they
they
love,
can
they
they can
love
they can
being
tell on the phone, because some of the classes I taught were only on the phone, and they could
Yeah.
tell on the phone that I was a man of color, and they were like, "Yes,
Yeah.
you'll love it here, and then they'll love you." And you,
Yep. So
I've-
cool, you know.
Misha, let's see. So on Misha Speaks, so I did not get a chance to have you talk about your channel, but you have been sharing your journey, you know, coming into the country, you know, doing the orientation, and then you started like in a temporary housing location.
Mhm.
And then I watched this sister buckle down and say, we gonna combine these coins here.
Yes.
We're going to get a place. So
Yes.
what was the sticker shock
Hmm.
landing? Were you surprised by the prices? Was this because I think this is your first visit to Japan, right? Is this your
Yes.
first time
First
there?
time I ever come to Japan. Yes.
Okay, so like have you really embraced the, what do you call that, the exchange rate for things like food, and you're like, it costs what, or man, this costs, you know, I can afford that, I can afford to do.
Absolutely. So on the housing front, like when I first got here, I was in like a really tiny like studio apartment, and it was like 37,000 yen a month, which is probably like right now with the current exchange rate, it's probably like $200. Like it's really not that much. And so we now live in a traditional Japanese home. So it's like 2 bedrooms. There's like upstairs, like it's really nice. I'm gonna have to make a whole video on the house, but it's like a really huge, nice house.
Very
and it's
spacious.
only 42,000 yen a month. So that's like 5,000 yen more than my studio apartment for this much more space. And I think that's right at $300. $300 right now. Like it's wild. Like when I was like signing the lease, I was like, is this the right number? I kept asking her, I was like, is this like the right number, like right here? And she was like, yeah, like that's it. And I remember coming to like view the house, and I was with someone from the Board of Education who didn't speak really good English. And she was going through, but the thing she kept saying in English was like, Misha, like, is this okay? Like, is this okay? Like, you sure this is fine? And it really put into perspective. She just kept saying, like, it's an older house, like it's older. And it really made me realize that I feel like people in Japan don't actually know what they have. Like it is in most places when you live there. The fish don't know it's in water. And I was like, is this okay? Like, like do you not understand what this you are giving you? Y'all are renting me a family home for $300 right now a month.
Yeah.
Like
because they're gauging it based on what they perceive American culture, American
Exactly.
and I was like, wow.
Yeah. What are we are America is seen as rich.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So,
wow.
yeah.
Every chance I get, I try to tell them the truth.
But you live
I
in.
was like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, bro. You better not break nothing over there on your body.
Oh yeah.
So you're on a teacher's salary.
Yes.
And you know, in the US, teachers are, they have their primary job, then they have side hustles. And my mother-in-law was a teacher. She sold Avon, she sold, you know, it pampered, you know, she was doing all the things as a part of being able to live life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about, okay, so I have a teacher's salary. You can afford your housing on a teacher's salary.
Yes.
Can you eat?
Yes. So just before the baby and I, before Winona and I got here, I was talking with my father, and you know, he's very conscious on being financially stable and you know, stocks and you know just being able to save money. You know, he taught me a lot about, you know, having a rainy day fund, savings account, and all that kind of stuff, and you know, getting your credit score right, and you know, all the typical, you know, things that you would talk to someone about as far as finances. You know, especially now, just kind of in the Black community, we're just now really, you know, learning these things. And you know, he was talking to me about those things, and I realized that, you know, Misha is making a set amount from the JET program, which is probably the most that you would make because it's through the government, correct? So with the government, they pay more than the private sector does. And so with the JET program, she's getting paid a lot more than what she would be getting paid in the, you know, if it was like just a private company, you know. And so we realized that even with the house here, you know, the rent is just a fourth of what she's getting paid. And so
that is the equation
I think it's right at a fourth.
Exactly. It's like right at a fourth. And so even with that, realizing that, hey, we could not only save money, have money for all the groceries and expenses that we need, have another savings or another income that we can use to, you know, maybe travel a little bit, you know, within the country, you know, and that kind of deal. Realizing that, you know, we can do a multitude of things with just having rent be a fourth of, you know, what she makes, you know, and you know, that was a big deal for us. And that is one of the biggest reasons why the JET program was definitely the go-to, you know. And it's, you know, for me, when she said it, it was a no-brainer, you know. I was like, you know, it's been my dream. Let's go. You know, the money makes sense, you know. You know, housing is just so cheap because, you know, it's, again, not a lot of people, you know, that having a decline in the population. So it's so many like houses here that are abandoned or not, you know, they're not having people in, you know. And so, you know, it's cheap. It's cheap. And, you know, Japanese people are also saying, you know, hey, you know, it's getting, for them, they've been used to living this life. So any increase or any, you know, any inflation, you know, to them, oh, it's getting expensive. But the life that they live is being, you know, financially fiscally responsible, you know. having this money for your bills, having this set of money for, eating out, having this set of money for this, and so they're so used to being fiscally responsible and, to the point to where, they don't run their heaters at a certain time and, the hot water gets cut off at a certain time and that kind of deal, and so they're so used to, living that lifestyle of being, fiscally responsible. For us, coming in, it's like, man, all we have to do is adhere to being that fiscally responsible humans, adults, and we're gonna be great. Like we don't want for anything, even though, of course there are things that we do want, but we don't, we're not in a position to where we're paycheck to paycheck, or where like in the States, it would definitely, before Misha ended up getting accepted to the program, I was working, at a job, and, of course I was getting paid a certain amount of money that I thought was definitely equal to the job that I was working. But being in the position where we had to pay $750 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, it was just kind of ludicrous, to me. And so, just having rent being that high, it's just crazy. And knowing that, hey, we come out here and, rent and bills, and if we make sure we, be fiscally responsible, and by fiscally responsible, I mean, just knowing what you're going to spend on what you would like to spend on, and so just knowing that, and it's, it's easy, just kind of, put it in like we do envelopes. We put in, hey, this is the amount.
She showed him envelope. Yes, ma'am. I saw the envelope.
And so, but see, that's the like, if you just do it, that's the easy part, and so realizing that, hey, it's easy to be fiscally responsible here because it's the culture, and that kind of deal, and it's not living expenses aren't super high here, it's great. It's great. Like
Are they paying you the local currency? I'm sorry, babe.
Yeah,
continue.
Are they paying you the local currency?
Yeah, I get paid in yen.
Yes, she does get paid in yen.
Okay.
So this you have to make that conversion.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't have to make an extra conversion. Like I get direct deposits into my bank account in yen. I have a Japanese bank account here. So last month it was 231,000 yen is usually what I get paid a month after taxes and everything. So that's like, the conversion rate is like wild right now. But
yeah. I will say that the US dollar is still
really strong,
compared to the
yen.
Japanese
the yen is going down a lot.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I don't have to like go back.
Yeah. Exactly. Like we're the type to enjoy our peace, quiet life. So, we're not trying to have, a big studio, apartment in New York City or whatever. Even though in our house we have a balcony that we can see over many different houses in our town, and so it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of surreal. And having Winona here as well, the benefits for having Winona here are
dependent,
are definitely outweighing the benefits for having a child in America, and so we realized, or we found out that not only do they provide a stipend, I believe it's about every few months or whatever, even with us realizing that we had to pay for Winona going to school.
We don't have to pay for her going to school.
Oh, what was it?
It's just pay for lunch.
Oh, it was the pay for lunch. That's what it was. Okay, so realizing that we had to pay for lunch. Yeah. So realizing that, exactly.
We just paid $28 a month for her to eat lunch.
Yeah, but then and that's in U.S. currency.
And they make lunch, people.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't. This is not no pre-formulated. They cut.
No.
It ain't that.
No. Yeah, the
they
food
cut
here,
vegetables. They bring in potatoes. They bring in soup, Kids
Yes.
are eating real
And they eat
whole-
seasonal vegetables, so whatever they're growing,
Yeah.
currently, that's what they make lunch with.
Well balanced meals.
Mm.
Well balanced meals. Like they don't play around with having well balanced meals.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course the food is, you know, there are no toxins. You know, it's not as preserved as they would do in the States. You know, no preservatives, none of that. You know, it's, hey, you're gonna eat it, you eat it today. You know, that kind of fresh. You know.
Mm.
That kind of deal, you know. So they don't play around with that too. They don't want any companies, anybody messing with their food. So they don't do that. Not here.
the top things coming out of your budget. Housing is always going to be the most expensive.
Mhm.
You all
Yes.
are at somewhere around 300.
Yes.
The next highest is
I'll do it again just to give you like a actual fraction for everything. So I get paid every 15th of each month. So on October 15th, I got paid 231 yen. So I paid 45,000 in total for the house because we paid 3,000 for a parking spot. So like $20 for a parking spot. So 45,000 out of the 231,000 go to housing. Then this month for water, it was 1,400 yen, so like $10. Our electricity bill was 4,200 yen.
Yeah.
So somewhere around $30.
Yeah.
And after like those two things, I think we're just at like 6,000 so far.
Yeah.
And then gas was 3,000.
Yeah, gas was 3,000.
Yeah, so that's still like maybe right at 10,000 for because I remember we finished our pay. So right at 10,000 for utilities. So now we're at 55,000. And we already covered rent and we already covered utilities.
And the kind of things
and that is about a fourth of what I already got paid. How rent and utilities together is a fourth. And then I pay
Wait. Okay, so you just
housing.
Okay, so you're talking about everything associated with your housing. Because the empty teachers, a fourth of your home pay should be, we're saying, okay, that's what you're paying. Okay, so the next biggest thing, you know, when you're looking at a family budget is transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So did you all buy a car?
So actually, and this is y'all, this is how, okay, people who know me know my story and they know like how important it was for me to come here. And you know how like you just meet no resistance?
Yeah.
I met none. So in the JET program, you have a predecessor. There are people who are already here before you and you take their position when they're leaving.
Yeah.
And so he already had a car and he just gave it to me for free.
Yeah.
So I got a free car.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things that we got from her predecessor. We got, you know,
furniture, dishes,
dishware,
like,
you know, like there's like
TV.
There's so many, there's so many things. And the reason being is because here in Japan, it's they recycle so many things. And because they don't have a lot of space,
you can't just throw stuff away.
You can't just throw things away. And so it's hard to get rid of things when you want to give them up.
Yes.
And so, you know, they do a lot of, you know, hey, you know,
handing to someone else.
Yeah.
You
and
know,
giving
reusing it for something different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
and they do a lot of repurposing, you know. And so with that in mind, you know, you get things that are in really good shape, you know, for the most part. And you know, you don't have to really spend a lot of money on it because, you know, again, being, you know, in a culture where they're you know, they talk about being, you know, financially responsible, you know, that you don't want to pay for something that somebody else has had for, you know, and it's like the top dollar, you know, or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, they you know, selling something or even just kind of, you know, renting something or that kind of deal, the people who have the product or who have, you know, the land or the house and that kind of deal, they're in their head also thinking, well, you know, I don't want this to be a super expensive thing because then they're not going to come and buy it or they're not going to come and rent with us and that kind of deal, you know. And so the mindset of, you know, the culture here is, you know, if it's expensive or if it's, you know, more than you know, a little bit, then hey, I'm not gonna do it. You know?
And by here, I wanted to be known that we're talking about this town.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same in Tokyo. It's not the same in Osaka. In the big cities, it's gonna be just the same as in the States.
Yeah,
So it's going to be extremely expensive. It's not going to be a lot of space.
Exactly.
So by here, we mean like in the countryside.
In the countryside, yes. And well, that's what we were talking about, how the JET program is specifically going to put you, or usually going to put you in the countryside. Like they have so many teachers in Tokyo already. They have so many people in Osaka. Like they have people in the big cities, and they don't want you to be in big cities. They want you to be in the countryside where you can touch the people who barely have any experience to English. So here it's going to be, definitely cheaper, a lot cheaper.
So yes, the car was free. The car was free, but I pay car insurance. My car insurance is 5,600 yen a month. So maybe like $40 or something like that.
Yeah. Because of the exchange rate.
Yes, because I'm an older, like mid-age adult, like not middle age, but like I'm on the other side of 25. So, So just like anywhere, like your insurance is cheaper when you're a little bit older, or whatever happens.
That kind of deal, yeah.
So that's car insurance. That's really all for the car. And then for my budget for the month, that's so crazy. We only put gas in the car like one time. I don't, my gas budget for the whole month is 15,000 yen. And I've only gotten gas like once or twice. It's still like a lot of money in the envelope somewhere. I don't even know where it is. I think it's in the car.
Yeah, it's in the car.
So 15. So was it $100 maybe for a whole month of gas? Like y'all, it's actually crazy.
Yeah. And so again, being, and it's not hard, being fiscally responsible by saying, hey, this is how much I'm going to pay for this, or this is how much I'm going to.
It's hard for me. Maybe it's not hard for David.
Well, I mean, the reason I say this is because all you have to do is take the money and put it in an envelope, or put it somewhere and say, this is what this is for. And that's it. And do that for
if it's there,
2 or 3 more
it's
times.
there. If it's not there,
exactly.
You're borrowing from somewhere else, but you're gonna stick
It's
the
male logic mind.
Okay. Well, maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
So I have 2 quick questions because I don't want to keep you all up all night. I know y'all in tomorrow already.
I'm really enjoying the conversation.
Yeah, I am. I'm
really
actually like,
I
looked at the time and I'm like, it doesn't even feel like it's been that long.
For the you mentioned your automobile gas price, which is spending. Is that primarily because of the cost of the gas, or is that because you're doing more walking than driving? Or
no, I have to drive every single day because we're in a small town, and like one of my schools is like way up like 30 minutes in the mountains. So I drive every day.
Yeah.
I think that it's the gas prices.
Yeah.
They've gone up for Japanese people, but I don't think they understand the price of things in other places.
Exactly.
So right now, I think gas is like 171 yen per liter. So it's a little bit, they use a different system than we use. And so like to them, it's like a little high. But like to me, I just go to school. Like everything, except for the school that I drive 30 minutes away to go do, everything is within a 10 to 15 minute drive for me. Yeah. Literally everything.
It's a small town. So.
Like you can drive from one end to the other end in like 15 minutes.
Yeah. And so, it's
so if we spend a lot on gas, that means that we're traveling.
Exactly.
Like we're traveling to like the bigger city in Oita, or we're going to like a smaller city like Kawahita. So it's in part that there's not a lot of driving to do. My commute is not super, super long. Yeah. And paired with like the gas prices. Mm-hmm. So yes, you said you had another question?
Did you go first?
No, well, I wanted to ask the woman question.
Yes.
How much stuff did you bring with you? Because what I have heard in not just Japan, but pretty much all over the world, you want to bring, I'm a woman of size, both I wear a larger shoe size and I need a larger, bring your clothes.
Yes, definitely bring your clothes and your shoes.
They are a different structured people. And
I was gonna say, and I only say that because you can't go to the store and get stuff, but you can still buy so many things online and get it shipped here.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you shop on Shein. Shein has a whole Japan branch. You can just buy stuff and they're gonna ship it to your house.
Amazon too.
Yes, Amazon. So I didn't let me see. Did I have 3 suitcases? Yes, I had 3 suitcases. I had a carry-on, and then I had like just 2 check bags because that's just what came with the package.
Yeah.
Whatever they was offering is what I was gonna use, and like I didn't need to get anything else. Like
Yeah.
that was it.
So I know, you kind of talked about, the woman's standpoint from it, being a, I guess, and I don't know, being a male who's 6'2", and having a shoe size that's like what 12, I believe, and so realizing that, hey, of course you want to take your stuff with you, but when I found out that there was a Japanese Amazon, it was just like, oh, okay, well, I can just order the stuff that if I want to get something for me, I can. But yes, you do want to take your clothes with you, especially when you're first starting, because those are going to be the only clothes that you can wear. Yes. When you first come here, please bring the clothes that fit you and the ones that you're going to use on a daily basis.
We are the Lock Nation. And I have seen Misha doing her hair herself.
Yes.
So you brought your product. I mean, I was like, well, where your product? And she was like, we rolling with the water.
So when I left, I forgot some things because when I was in the States, I didn't do my own hair. So when I was packing, I neglected to get the stuff for my hair because I don't do my own hair. If you live in a bigger city, like for the people who are listening, like who have locks, if you live in like Tokyo or Osaka, you're not gonna have a problem finding somebody to do hair.
They can do that
because not only are there Black Americans who come specifically to do hair, there are so many Africans. Like even where I am, like in just like a 30-minute drive, it's a university. There are so many African people like to do your hair if you want them to do your hair. So it's not that you're gonna have a shortage of people doing your hair, but being able to access that is really what the issue is going to be.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend that if you have locks and you want to move, especially if you want to come on a JET program, learn how to do your hair.
Yeah. Learn how to do your
own hair.
We're currently in the process of figuring out how to do each other's hair.
Yes.
And that kind of deal. So so it won't be that big of a deal, And so I'm just now learning how
I'm telling you, I want to go back to just like that myself.
I still have some hair that can grow. It's just been easier these last few months to just be like, look here,
just take it off.
That's a big cost savings because you know how much we can spend on our hair.
I would recommend that if you want to live abroad to lock it. I feel like it's easier to maintain it if it's locked than if it's free.
Yes.
If you just personally from being both having like hair, from hair like to none to just free to locks, this is the best thing for traveling if you ask me.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like that as well because when it's not locked, of course you have to definitely apply and do certain things with your hair.
You gotta pretty much do it like every day.
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, and that kind of deal. But having it locked, you wear your cap and that kind of deal. You take care of it, but it's not the regular or the extreme maintenance that comes with trying to just grow your hair and keep your curls and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like using a lot of products and all that. When you're locked, you're not gonna be using all those products and trying to put all that extra product in your hair and that kind of deal because it makes your hair gunky and your hair doesn't get out of your hair well.
2-3 months we can make it last. We know how to
exactly and your natural oils in your head and on your hair, like you want to keep those because those help not only keep your scalp and stuff clean, but they help your hair be have nutrients and that kind of deal. So
well, I want to get to Poetry's question because it's my question too.
Yes.
Okay.
What did you have to provide for the visa process? Because a lot of what we talk about is the visa qualification outside of having someone sponsor you can be, those economic solvency, what you have to bring. What did you all have to present for the visa process?
The JET program, the only thing that we had for them to get a visa is just like marriage license and birth certificate. And for me, it was, I don't even think I had to show my birth certificate. It was just like my passport.
Yeah.
And that's really it. So like if
Yeah.
you go through a program and they're sponsoring you, it's really easy because they do most of the harder work. So I don't have any experience with getting a visa outside of being sponsored for a visa. So I can't answer that. But through the program, just your passport if you're the person that's applying.
Yeah.
And if you're a dependent, then you need to show how you're connected to the person who is getting the work visa.
Yeah. Can I just?
You have to pay for it, or they pay for it for you?
They pay for it. I didn't have to pay for anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
For her and for you and for David.
Yes, they sponsor everything.
Yeah,
so
they
it was all
sponsor
on
our
them.
visas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to say this, and this is just, to my fellow sisters and brothers, Black people, please get you a passport. Please
Yes.
get you a passport. Please get you a passport, because
One more time.
limiting your options, limiting your options to just the United States is not where you want to be, and I know, we talk about, the pros and the cons of being Black people in the United States and that kind of deal. Just letting other Black people know that you don't have to eat what they getting. You don't have to stay where you don't want to be. You can get your passport as long as you're not, out here and you're not breaking the rules, or you got, like a record or anything like that. You get your passport. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you do right. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to be out here, doing all type of crazy stuff. Just be cool. Get your passport. You can go wherever you want to go. Go wherever you want to go, because the United States passport
everywhere.
Yes,
Everywhere. You're gonna meet somebody in the airport. You're gonna see somebody in the street.
Yes,
You're not gonna be out here by yourself.
Exactly.
Conduct yourself appropriately.
Yes.
Go
Please do. Please do.
Places.
Yeah.
We always end with, you can't do none of this if you don't have a passport.
Exactly.
So I wanted to ask about unexpected. So, I mean, these student processes they smooth out so much. This is the first program that I've heard that will pay you. All you have to do is say yes and have the right
you don't
credentials.
even pay to apply. You don't pay
and
for
they
anything.
smooth the whole process forward for you.
Yep.
For you and your family. So
exactly.
I just
exactly.
But
and find a nice house.
Yes.
But what was unexpected? So you put your plan in place, you executed your plan. Like Misha said, you're moving forward with little resistance. But what was unexpected for you individually and for you all as a couple and a family?
Let me see. Unexpected. Like expenses or just like anything?
Anything that you think that people should be paying attention to that they might not.
This is what I say from the JET program perspective. It was unexpected to run into the same kind of people that I left America to get away from. Because when you're in the JET program, there are other foreigners that live in the town with you or nearby with you. And so it was really unexpected to be in this new space and realize that people don't come with a new mindset like I did.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really unexpected for me, because I would think like, you move abroad, like it's like new, it's like fresh, like you can like be whoever you want. And like, how you gonna come be the same person? You know what I'm saying?
You take your baggage with you.
Yes. And so that was one of the most unexpected things I would say for me. Expenses wise, things actually turned out a lot better than what I thought that they would.
Yeah.
I will say I was paying, and it hurt so much. I'm feeling the pain again. So for like a month or two, I was paying rent at two places because I was moving from the other place and like coming here. And like, oh my God, like I think I shelled out 100,000 yen at one time. Like it was so heartbreaking. But that is just to show that the salary that you have is so livable. I was paying, y'all know you can't pay to rent at two places in the States.
No teacher salary in the States, baby. Somebody under a bridge somewhere.
Yeah, you at that place until you at the next place. Yeah, you're not in between places. Yeah.
Yes.
You can barely afford the first place.
Man, so like, for 2 months, it was 2 months. I paid at the apartment and then I paid here because I was like moving and like switching over at like the same time. And like, that's what I love about the small town, because the guy was like hearing me talk to my supervisor about like how like I was like, okay, well I can like give him everything at once. It's just gonna be kind of like tough because I'm just in between. He was like, no, like you live in the town, like you can give it to me anytime. And I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah. They're again, you know, they try to be, you know, nice and kind, and you know, because we're in the country, they're very like down
they're
to
so
earth.
lackadaisical.
Yeah,
like,
they're so down to earth people because they live in the country, you know, and that kind of deal. So, you know, they're you know, they're not super, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
They're not really uptight out here.
Yeah,
really.
not uptight at all. Like they're, you know, you can tell that, you know, hey, they're just living their peaceful life out here like everyone else, you know.
But yes, those are really unexpected things. Paying rent at two places for 2 months, because, and we've been able to do so much, even like outside of like having to shell out that much money at once. Like, and that's what I'm telling you. The salary is crazy to me, living in the rural countryside. Like, I can literally support my whole family on like half almost of my money being taken for 2 months.
Oh, and we applied, they're going to be giving us a stipend for Winona for everything is every 3 months or whatever. And that is even with us paying for her lunch at school is, you know, not even, I think not even a third of what the stipend.
It's not even close.
So she pays for her own lunch, and we're still going to be able to save part of the stipend as well. You know, so
in the part of Japan that I'm in, somebody asked the question. I am in Oita Prefecture.
Yeah.
So prefectures are like states. So the big is Kyushu. Kyushu is the southernmost big island of Japan. It's like long. We're down here in Kyushu.
Yeah.
And then I live in Oita Prefecture. It's over here to the right. And I'm living in a town called Kusumachi. It's a really tiny town.
Yeah.
In between Fukuoka and Oita. Down here at the bottom. And so here in like my municipal government, they have stipends for children. So from birth to 3 years old, you get 15,000 yen. I want to say it's 3 times a year. So 4 months of 15,000. So 3 times a year, you'll get 60,000 yen for just having the kid, supporting them, whatever. And then after they turn 3, it goes to 10,000 every 4 months, 3 times a year. So it's like 40,000 3 times a year, something like that.
Yeah.
And so then I just went back because they had something extra that I didn't even know about. And it's like these little, it looked like them old school coupon books we used to get. Now I'm young, but I'm still like in that weird area. Y'all know the books I'm talking about.
Hey, ma'am. Hey.
Old school, so she's the old school, you know. So
them dresses come in handy though.
Yeah.
So they have those, and oh man, wish my bag was close, but I can actually show you. But they have the little you can rip them off. They all have like 5. You ain't gotta get it back. It's fine. Okay. They have 500 yen, so it's 10,000. The whole book is 10,000 yen, and you can just use it when you go to the store if you want to get like pull-ups, diapers, formula, milk, whatever. You just
baby food.
You can give however many you want until it's free. You can use them all if you want to, but you just give it to the clerk. They pull it off. You tell them how many you want to use or whatever have you, and it just supplements. So that plus the stipend.
Yeah.
We don't even if we had to pay for school, the stipend would take care of the school.
Yeah.
And so that's like the really cool thing. But we don't. Once your kid is 3 here, their preschool is free. So from 3 to 5, you don't have to worry about paying a dime. You just pay for their lunch, because the lunch is just separate from like the institution that you're paying for. Somebody needs to get paid to make the lunch.
Yeah.
So you just pay for your lunch, and it's like the meat and rice. It was like 2 separate. I don't know why it was 2 separate things, but the rice is like 500 yen every month, and then like the meat portion was like 3,000 yen. So the 500 plus 3,000 is like 3,500 or something like that for lunch per month. So her stipend just pays for that itself.
Yeah.
Healthcare.
It's
Is healthcare covered under your jet?
So I pay out of, like, kind of similar in the States. Like if you have like a job, like they take it out of your check, and we for the baby, there's zero cost period. Like the children, you don't have to pay for anything. They go to the doctor's free, and they go to dentist, whatever, is free. Like you don't have to worry about paying anything. But for adults, you only pay 30% of whatever everything is.
Wow.
Yes, it's only 30%.
Yep. And
Yeah,
so
it was a guy in the program, like he broke something. I think he broke his collarbone. He ended up paying like $20.
It's crazy, you know. It's and you know, I
they
feel
said
like
we don't want you to die.
Yeah. And you know, I also feel like part of that is them being, what was it? What did we say? Mono
Ethnic.
Mono ethnic. Yeah. Them being
which
like,
is
as a whole,
which I want to
they
say
take
slowly
care.
on decline, by the way.
Yeah.
In terms of mono ethnicity.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think they're trying to hold on to the idea that they're still mono ethnic, but it is changing. So the color of people are changing.
It is.
I see a lot of pages where they're interviewing Afro-Japanese.
Yes. And they've been living here their whole life, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
So they sound Japanese. Okay, so this really is my last question. So I'm a chef.
Okay.
And as a chef, we get a lot of this statement around the world. So you all are Southern babies.
Yes.
How are you managing the food culturally? And the reason I ask that is I think that, you know, people say, oh, you know, wherever they're living in the world, they don't have no seasonings, or they don't have the. Now understand. I'm a different kind of chef. I have both. I have in my house some Lawry's and some, what's that called? Old Bay. But they probably have not come off the shelf
more than a few times.
Because I'm into individual spices. And as long as there are individual spices of any kind, I can go in any direction. But if people I think people sometimes are kind of caught in where they are. But how is the diversity of spice? Now I recognize that, you know, where you are culturally, there's going to be a more prolific amount of what they use.
Right.
How is your use? How is your grocery shopping? How is your eating out process? What is the dining experience both home and abroad for you? You got a different way to ask that?
Yeah, I was like, do they have food for the Southern palate?
So in my town, the short answer is going to be no. If you go to a bigger place, like in the city, like in any city area, I think you might be able to find stuff like that. But we really love Japanese food. But at home, so at the grocery store, there's pretty much any seasoning you can imagine.
Yeah.
Like it's 2023 now. It's like
we got
turmeric, allspice, smoked
pepper,
paprika,
white
like
pepper,
it's just
like,
all the normal things that you could use to make any kind of mixture of
Basil.
seasonings that you want. You want to make taco seasoning, they got everything you want. If you want to make, all you gotta do is put it together.
Yeah. So they're also big on convenience here. You know, so like, you know, they'll have like a whole packet of seasonings for something like I don't want to say Old Bay specifically, but they'll have something that's like an all seasoning, you know, and it'll work for just, you know, that dish or whatever. So they're also about convenience and, you know, things being very convenient to use and that kind of deal. But I've always loved Japanese cuisine. Like I said, my best friend was Japanese. I had an interest in Asian culture ever since I was little and in college. And I was part of the Asian American Association in college at the University of Memphis. And so, you know, I really jumped into, you know, many different Asian dishes, you know, pho, sushi. And by sushi, I mean like just raw fish or nigiri, you know. Not like rolled, you know, sushi rolls or whatever, which are cool too. But you know, I really like the taste of raw fish, you know. And so I've, you know, kind of grown my palate over the years because I'm the type to eat good food. You know, I'm not the type to look at something and be like, okay, that looks really bad to me. I don't want to try it. I'll try it, you know, once or twice, you know, especially the first time I'll try it and see what it tastes like and try not to compare it in my head to something else that I've had before because
Right.
it's a whole new experience, you know.
Right.
And so for me, I've always been the
Right.
type to be like, well, let me try that and see what it tastes like, and if I like it, I might try it again. If I don't like it, maybe I'll wait, a few months or so and then try it another time. And then maybe that time, if I don't like it, then that'll probably seal the deal for me. Okay, well, it's not something that I'm interested in right now at the moment, but I've always been interested in other cuisines other than Southern food,
But if you're worried about not being able to eat the same things that you eat in America, you should be, because
yeah. But
the food is so extremely different here. Like,
it is.
I remember there are some things you're gonna still be able to make. Like, I made spaghetti, not Italian spaghetti, black people spaghetti.
Yeah, fried chicken.
Yes.
Black people fried chicken.
Y'all know it's a difference. I don't know why y'all laughing. Y'all know it's a difference.
It is a difference. It is. Yeah.
If I'm gonna lean in with the macaroni and cheese, baby. It's different.
It's different. And so I was able to make it, and like they have oregano and like all the other stuff, sugar, obviously. Like, so it was easy to make it. But if you're looking for something like biscuits and gravy or like making a peach cobbler, is going to be difficult because as a cultural, bread is something that was introduced from Europeans, and so traditionally in your home you're not going to have a stove with an oven. It's pretty much, if you want a stove with an oven, you have to DIY, build a place, do it yourself, or have a contractor come in and install something like that into your home. Even for the apartments. So what you're going to be looking at is a range that you can pick up and take off and move around, and that's what you're going to have. And it's going to have a place for you to grill fish, because that's just the traditional culture. So if you like baked goods, you're going to have to go to like a bread store. Like we do go to like they call them Panya, but it's not the same. You're not going to find like a oh my God, what do they even sell? I don't know. I didn't usually go to the bakery because I baked at home in the States. And so that's a huge culture side. So if you're big into baked goods, biscuits, pies, and cakes and stuff like that, like we are in the South, you're just not gonna get it.
You're not going to be able to bake unless you spend the money getting a stove and somebody to do
if you can even
I guess we're gonna have to bring that convection. That little convection.
Oh yes, you can get one of those. You can get one of those. You can get one of those. Yes.
I gotta bake something. Yeah.
This is my sweet potato pie man.
Oh
yeah, you're gonna have to get something specifically for that, because it's not gonna come standard like they do like in the States, where it's a range and there's an oven. Like, it's just not standard to have.
Yeah.
But we have like a I'll call it a microwave, but there's a setting for like cake. There's a setting for cookies. So apparently they found a way to get around it, but I haven't used it that way yet. I don't know.
So because of, again, they try to make everything convenient. So there are things that have many different uses. Not just one thing being like just the microwave. They have the microwave is not only a microwave, but it's a toaster oven. It's an actual oven where you can cook, like it looks like a microwave, but it has an element and everything in it so that you can cook stuff inside of it, like you would cook in a stove. But we haven't really tried baking yet because it's just going to be different.
I was about to say that might be a bridge too far.
Exactly. It's going to be different. It's not exactly the same. So you can toast things, you can microwave things, you can cook things as if like you're going to maybe cook chicken breast or whatever. It just has to be on a microwave safe
dish.
Plate or dish or something like that, and it'll cook in the microwave, and on the oven setting, but it's not like having an oven in your home that like you're used to in the States. Completely different.
I want to answer this question here. There is no age limit. There is no age limit at all. The only thing you are required to have is a bachelor's degree. That's it. Nothing else.
Well,
that's the only thing to issue you a visa.
And obviously being, I also will say this, obviously being single or being by yourself, it's a lot easier kind of moving and paying, for your bills and, just paying for yourself to eat. And obviously that's just normal in general, but it's definitely a lot easier, from the talks and from the videos and things that we've seen of single people doing programs just like the JET program and teaching abroad. It's definitely easier moving and doing stuff as a single person than it would be as a unit. However, Japan or the JET program have been accommodating us as a family, which is something that we appreciate.
And I want to go back to earlier. I feel like I didn't really get the answer to the question about safety. We kind of like got really.
Oh yeah, not for like women. Yeah, not for like women, but for me,
David was telling us he was safe from the pews, and then we just kind of got away from
it. I'm living the dream, man. Living the dream. But yeah, please tell from a woman's standpoint.
Yeah.
So for me, it's similar to David, where like I don't have to worry about my physical safety, like literally never. I don't think about. He's like talking about checking for his surroundings. I don't do any of that while I'm here. Like it's just because I know one or two things are gonna happen. It's just gonna be chill. Somebody might like look at me weird or something, or what I find is very refreshing. Sometimes people just walk to the other side of the street. Like I think that's amazing. Like that's just I love the two alternatives.
Yeah.
However, I do feel like an air of, like we talked about, like this. It happens at school for me. Like at school with the kids, I have to constantly tell them to not touch me.
Oh yeah, children.
Like, that's like the biggest thing. So if you like want to come in this program, like the kids, you have to constantly set boundaries with them. They want to touch my hair, they want to touch my skin, and they constantly ask me am I sunburned. Like this is exactly how I come. So the social aspect, I don't feel as much safety as I do physical safety. Socially, I don't feel the safe as I did back in the States.
Okay.
Because back in the States, the context is higher. In terms of my identity, people understand like I'm a Black person. Like it's really not that big of a deal. Like they see Black people everywhere. Like I'm from Memphis, and so socially, it's not as safe. So I do feel like I have to come off a certain way when I start to like speak, like and using my Japanese and just kind of being a little bit more composed, I would say, and not as like loose. And so that is where I feel like there's a little bit less safety because you're not going to be understood in the same way that you are back at home socially. Like even the way that you move, everything is just so different. Now, as time has went on, I've especially like in my town and just being in the paper and more people just I've been relaxing more because more people just kind of like know what I'm here doing, and it's not like I'm just a strange person. But in the beginning, it was a little more constraining socially. Like, what do I say? How do I say it? Is my tone the right way? And so socially, it's not as I would say I didn't feel as safe as I did back at home. It's just as like a Black woman. So I did want to touch on the earlier, but physically, you don't gotta worry about nothing really.
Your life is not in danger.
Yes, but
your life is not in danger.
Social, emotional, and this is where I feel like I've been blessed to come to Japan, coming with my family. I feel like this would be extremely isolating and difficult as a single person, especially as a single Black woman. I feel like I wouldn't, even with the other Jets in town, like I was saying, like I don't really hang with too many of them often because they still are here with the same American attitude. And so for me, that's extremely unsafe socially and emotionally for me, coming with the same mentality from America. So I will say caution to coming here because you more than likely, I would just dare to say 100%, you're going to be placed in a rural area and it's going to be extremely isolating if you're here by yourself, especially if you don't know the language. And so that is something that I do tell people, like, learn the language if you're going to come here by yourself as a Black person. Learn the language, learn as much as you can, because it's going to be isolating in the beginning. It's very hard to make friends with Japanese people.
It is.
It's very hard to break the social barrier without having the language skills. Even if they speak English, it's still just so culturally different. So I think it would be really isolating if you came by yourself. So keep that in mind if you want to, that in the beginning it's going to be tough and you're going to feel very lonely. I was just like, have my family.
Part of that, are they ignoring you question I asked earlier.
Exactly.
And maybe not necessarily avoided, but just kind of that you know, you don't exist.
Yes.
And that can be equally disturbing. There are people
Yeah.
I think who find that, comforting. Hey, nobody's bothering me. I mean,
Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
But that's not the same for everybody. And I want people to
Exactly.
understand that it can be extremely isolating.
Yeah.
Right.
Very.
To not be seen.
Right.
It's equal.
Right.
It's equal to be, like you say, equally as disturbing to just be bothered all the time and just to be feeling like you don't exist at all.
In an effort to come off as nice, they are actually not being nice.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just saying that's a concern.
I'll go out and say I don't believe that Japanese people are kind. They're very nice, but I don't believe that they're kind at all, because to me there's a difference. A huge difference. I don't think they're kind people, but they are polite, and they're not going to go out their way to offend you. But kindness is something that it's something you build in relationship with Japanese people.
Yeah.
But you can get nice anytime of the day. 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But kindness, not so much.
But yeah, they're not gonna help you move your couch down the street or nothing.
Right.
None of that. You know what I'm saying? Like they I will say that, kind of still touching on the subject of, being isolated. I know I talked about it being easy to move here, but you're going to be by yourself. And if that's something that you're used to, then hey, that's cool. But if you're not used to being by yourself and being alone and not having that constant human interaction, then this is not going to be a happy place for you. And at
least not in the beginning.
Yeah, especially not in the beginning. Like over time, of course, you're going to make connections with people as people open up and see you all the time. You know, and like I said, I've had people come up to me, but that's after I've been here for a month. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. I didn't have anybody coming up to me the first 2 weeks that I was here, or the first 3 weeks that I was like. People just really started coming up to me, which was yesterday. That was the first time someone actually came up to me to talk to me, and he had already had a few drinks, so so you know how that goes. Yeah. So but
two things I want to mention. And I go ahead, David. Let me let you finish your thought.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm pretty much done. You can go ahead.
I'm a part of Exodus Summit, which is a community of Black women who are moving about in the world with community in mind. In these spaces, we're sharing how we're doing the process, and it's why we have this channel. The gallivanting grandma is my friend. She's in the chat. She proposed something that I had never considered before. So she's a house sitter. And when we're done with this, we're going to talk to y'all about them. Japanese house sits are the bomb. It's a way to stay in beautiful places. To receive free accommodations by providing a service. And what she's done is, loneliness can be a factor when you're traveling long term, when you're going to a place for a long period of time. And so she has a community where Black women are teaming up together to do things together.
That is so nice. That's such a good antidote.
You reduce the isolation factor and promote the confidence, because now you've got somebody you can spend time with. All are getting ready together. You're making the move together. A lot of times on the student applications, I don't know if they do it with the JET program. I know they do it with the NALCAP program in Spain. You can say, this person and I are coming together. There's no requirement for you to be married. So it's two people that can be placed in a similar area, or that, hey, I want to go to the same prefecture, or I want to go to the same state, to be And so it's a built-in, I'm sharing expenses. We're going to be roommates, but also you provide, it's a way, one of the things when you are living abroad is that isolation and not having something familiar, which puts you at a higher risk of saying, I'm out.
Yeah.
And so considering these kinds of programs where they are focused on the rural areas, when you can go together. So whether this is two Black men, two Black women, two people that are saying, hey, we want to go to the same place, that you consider you don't have to do any of this process alone. There are Reddit groups for the JET program. There are Facebook groups for the new cohorts. There are ways for you to meet people. Yes, you do need to be aware that I'm gonna come with my biases, whether I have been intentional about being open to another culture. Y'all, we done been here decades. We're gonna have to unlearn, undo, learn to be open to a lot. We're all on a journey of being global citizens, but you don't have to do this process alone. Get your information, go with somebody. If you're not in the Exodus Summit group and you are living life as a Black woman, then this is a space where you can say, hey, I'm applying to the JET program. Misha's going to tell us when the next deadline is. And what you can already be doing to get ready for the next open application period. And then start looking at your lease. Can you get somebody to sublease? Can you so that you can get on out of here? The world is available to you. We don't have to have the headwind of not knowing and not having somebody on the ground that can answer questions. So 2 things, Misha, if you'll tell us, do they have a rolling deadline? Do they have a deadline? And then how can we follow your journey?
Okay. So every year the applications open up from September to November for the next year for you to leave out. So it's every single year it opens up and you can just apply. You don't have to pay for anything. You just literally just apply. And the application is like super, super easy. You just add your passport, ask you some questions. You do like a 2-page statement of like, why do you want to come? Like, why do you want to teach English? And just as a tip, if you want to do this, just make sure you mention things like, I want to meet Japanese people in the countryside. I would like to be a part of the grassroots thing that the JET program is doing. Those are the things they're looking for. Do you want to participate in the culture of Japan? How will you use this and connect it back to where you're coming from? That's all that they really want to know, is that you're going to have this cyclical kind of information exchange, culture exchange. That's what the JET program is about. It's not focused on teaching. It's a cultural exchange program.
Exactly.
So don't worry too much about the teaching part. Like we said earlier, it's the joy. Like you're having fun. You like want to play with the kids. It's really so informal. So every year from September to November, the applications open up. If you get chosen, there's an interview in January, and then you find out the results in March. Like that is the whole timeline for everything. Then you leave. If you want to be early, if you want to leave early, you leave in April. If you want to leave at regular time, you leave in August. And that's just like the timeline of the JET program. And if you want to follow our journey, I'm on YouTube. I'm at Mesha Speaks, Mesha, MESHA space SPEAKS. And the same thing for on Instagram. So that's where you can find me. There's like really cool videos coming up. Like my next video is actually going to be on my family comes to Japan. I've been so busy moving in between places, paying rent in 2 places. I was like, I don't have time to do no videos.
She's eating for breakfast. She doing her hair.
Oh my
waterfall. I mean, like she is living her best life out here. I'm so honored to have both of you guys share your stories, share what it's like to be from the South as a Black American moving in new spaces. We are not alone. You are a light. You can be a light. Those are who are in the chat. Thank you, Saban Belay. Thank you, Miss Mocha Mama, Poetry,
Yes,
Deborah
yeah.
S. We see you, Gallivanting Grandma. Thank you so much
Yes.
for joining. Servant
Yeah.
Teacher Nikki and David. Rita, thank you for catching our live. I know sometimes we go on a little later. Y'all, this is a community effort.
We
Yes.
told these young
Yes.
people at the beginning that they'd be on with us an hour because this is the middle of the night. We just completed the longest video we've ever done.
Oh wow.
Nice.
So we
Yeah.
really appreciate and are honored to have had you here today.
Yeah.
We appreciate this conversation and for sharing your experience. We will be in touch with you again. Everybody here, thank you for getting up early and watching us. Next week, we'll probably be back on. Are we back on our regular time next week?
We are back on because we'll be talking to somebody in the UK. So it'll be at our time. But then it'll be early again because we're going to be covering Thailand and a couple of other places that are Southeast Asia. So if y'all will bear with us, we're trying to accommodate. Is it 16 hours difference?
Yeah.
14 here.
14 hours difference. So we're just super glad when you said yes. Many blessings.
Absolutely.
Many blessings.
Thank you guys for
Thank
having
you so much.
us.
Thank you.
I'm
so
glad
much.
that I can share with the world
Most
for sure.
definitely. Most definitely.
Everybody, please make sure you like and subscribe to Misha's page. And of course, like and subscribe to our page.
Yes,
We will
please
see you
do.
again, same D channel, always.
Bye for now, everybody.
Bye-bye.